Hello, people of YouTube.
Hello,
I am American McGee,
I'm Martin.
and I am actually wearing a Halloween outfit today, Martin. You guessed incorrectly what I'm going as.
I guessed you came as American McGee.
No, I'm dressed as American Dad.
Okay,
That's it.
excellent.
Why aren't you wearing a costume?
Because I didn't think we were doing a stream this week. We're sort of 1 week out of step. I thought we were doing last week, and this would be the off week.
I see. Well,
But I told you that the algorithm.
weird, because I didn't think that it had audio on it.
Didn't. But it says video.
I see.
Well, it's gone now.
Yeah, it says our stream was temporarily blocked because we put some Blade Runner in there. Anyway, why did we put Blade Runner in there? It's because it is November 2019, the year in which Blade Runner took place. And of course, back when we were watching that movie 20 years ago, little did we know that this month I would be traveling from futuristic Shanghai back to the dystopian future of Los Angeles, where the sky is literally on fire, and going to Patreon's assembly event, I guess November 1st. So yeah, I'm flying tomorrow and going to Patreon assembly in LA, and yeah, very much not looking forward to the dystopian future of Los Angeles.
Yeah, I hope there's
Yeah.
not too many shenanigans for you. I mean, you even said the airport is
The airport is messed
knackered,
up. Yeah,
didn't you?
There's a lot of news right now about the fact that they've reconfigured where you can be picked up and dropped off by, or picked up by Ubers and Lyfts and taxis. So people, as a result, now are waiting like an hour in line to be picked up, ride from the airport.
Fine, just sounds like a Friday night out back home,
Yeah,
waiting
so
in the taxi rank for an hour.
I'm not looking forward to it. Anyway, so we are here. It is Halloween, and no, we didn't get dressed up, so I suppose apologies are in order, but
Sorry.
whatever. To make up for that, we are going to give away some very special prizes today. What do we have in store for the people today, Font Lord?
Ooh, we're going to give away Out of the Woods stuff.
Like a whole set.
A whole set. No, you won't even have to choose. It's going to be the coloring book, the illustrated book, and the game. A Paco 3.
So 3 things at once. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a pretty good and spooky prize for Halloween. We also are going to do art review today. We've got quite a bit of art from Alice Asylum to catch up on since I went off to Thailand. I went to Thailand because of Pirate Jam, so we will be talking a little bit about that today. We also want to give a quick update on Yen's progress with the mysterious makeup stuff. And I think, what else have we got? You're working on a new project.
Enamel pins.
Enamel pins. So yeah, plenty to get to. But first, let's say hello to all of our insane children. Who do we have there in the chat?
Ghibli girls here.
Greg and his junk.
Greg. Andrew's here.
And Philippe. Hello, Philippe. And there's Andrew.
Yep. Magus, Wendy.
Taylor's here. Wow, the
Any-
whole gang of insane children. Well, thank you all very much for joining us for this.
Any new ones?
I don't know. It looks like all of the usual suspects.
I saw some.
Lady Lucifer.
Wilted Star. Lithium. Mog.
Mog. That sounds like a new one. But yeah, thank you all for joining us today. I do hope that we make it a fun Halloween stream, even though we're not really doing anything terribly special, but
We'll try and be charming and entertaining.
bye.
Right.
Alrighty. So this image came in from Omri. This was actually the thumbnail for our live stream today. This is showing, I think, what we're referring to as the courthouse. It is sort of the seat of judgment inside of Alice's psyche. Omri has done a couple of variations on this. The original version of this started off, I think you could say it looked a lot more kind of chaotic and surreal.
I think I know the one you mean, the kind of twisty one.
Yeah, there was a twisty one. I wasn't a big fan. I thought it didn't really do the job of communicating what I would imagine to be kind of like the overly ordered seat of bureaucratic judgment within Alice's psyche. So Omri spent a bit of time to sort of give this a more Kafka-esque feel. Are you a fan of or a reader of Kafka?
I am not.
No. Do you know that term, what Kafka-esque means?
Is it sort of like this grey, bureaucratic, faceless lump we're looking at?
Well, in a sense, I think when you describe like something as Kafka-esque, you might be referring to, say, interfacing with a government agency such as the DMV. That is, that you go in circles and don't really get anywhere for all of the process and bureaucratic nonsense.
All right. Would the movie Brazil be Kafka-esque?
Very much so.
Right.
That is very much a Kafka-esque universe they're living in. And apparently whatever they've done to the parking or the ride pickup zone at LAX is also Kafka-esque. So anyway, he did a really good job, I thought, of capturing that sense. I love these hands that are off in the distance that are creating records. You could imagine that when you go into this zone, there's a kind of cacophony of sound related to this. Is it stenography when it's the court recorders? Yeah.
Stenographer.
Exactly.
Like 1 million typewriters clacking away as reams of paper stream down the walls.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, these sort of paper waterfalls, the sound of the typewriters in the background. You could imagine that, you know, coming from various corners and sections of all this are, you know, judges screaming out their summary decisions on various people who've been stuck in this labyrinth. That's pretty cool.
Even though they're quite obvious, I didn't really notice the pointy hands up until a while.
These?
Yeah. It just didn't click that they were like pointing arms and hands.
Yeah,
now I see them.
They've been there. I think in the original variation on this, they kind of had more of a stained glass. It was difficult to kind of make out whether they were windows overhead or they were sort of fixtures, 3D fixtures that were coming down. I'm getting a toe lick from Lulu.
There's a dog.
Lulu, you want to be on camera for a second? Lulu has been feeling a little bit sad of late because she's no longer the cutest and most attention-getting thing in the house.
You're not Lulu.
No, she's been relegated to a lesser position. And now the baby is the one that gets all of the attention. So I
gave you attention today, Lulu.
I feel quite sad for her. And she's now like the subject of scorn. If she has any kind of bad smell or maybe a little bit dirty, then mom says, get her out of here. Don't let her get near the baby.
Don't let the Lulu farts get near the baby.
And I've had to make the point several times now that Lulu doesn't shit on herself. The baby does. So I don't know who's a dirtier scoundrel, the dog or the baby. But anyway, the baby's been the dog has been getting the brunt of the rejection of late.
People are going to know it's not a green screen if Lulu wanders off into it.
Yeah, it's not a green screen. But yeah, there's Lulu giving the baby some toe licks. She's very interested in the baby's feet. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, she's a good girl.
Yeah.
She's been doing all right. I think we missed some super chats.
One, for sure. Lucas Severin, thank you very much. Just dropped in to say hi. I can't stick around because I'm busy chasing people with a chainsaw in a dress. So are you in the dress or is the chainsaw in a dress?
Or are the people in a dress? There's mysteries. Mysteries upon mysteries.
Yes, Lucas is apparently doing a stint in a haunted house.
Wow, cool. Well, thank you, Lucas, for stopping by to say hi and for the super chat. And it also looks like we have a new member.
Yeah, Taylor has membered up.
That means
that's what we're going to call it from now on. She could dab.
She could, but it's dangerous, Taylor.
It is. That'd be a dangerous game you're playing.
With that power comes great responsibility. Don't break the internet, please. So yeah, this is actually the original variation on the Courthouse that Omri did. And again, you can see that this is a lot more kind of surreal and swirly, and it just doesn't have that sort of big dystopian, Orwellian, Kafka-esque kind of feel to it.
Yeah, it's more surreal than sort of government oppression building.
Yeah, but it's it's interesting to see his sort of his method here. It's clear that he thought very very early on about incorporating these seeing eyes, right?
Right.
Which makes sense as a function of judgment. Probably one of the first aspects of judgment is that you have to view a thing, right? You have to view a situation or listen to a situation. He's got that in there, and he has some of the record stuff, the books and stuff captured in there as well. But yeah, I mean, where this went from the original version, I think is a pretty cool place. I mean, I really like how he worked with our comments to create something that captures the idea much more clearly. So this was the second thing that he turned in after that first one, and this is probably why I don't know if I didn't really get that these arms were meant to be arms that came down out of the ceiling. I kind of thought that they were maybe part of these windows.
Right. I guess I didn't really pay attention to them. My eyes were drawn to the maze and the stairs. I didn't really look up.
Right. But I wouldn't have known on first take that he had intended for these to be the bits of paper scrolling off the back of the typewriters. I don't even know if he knew that. I mean, maybe he did or didn't. It's always interesting to see, though, how an artist works through the comments that we provide, creates the final piece of art. So I'm pretty happy with that final piece of art.
It's good.
I see our insane children are really trying to break the internet.
Look at them dabbing away.
The internet here.
Man, I'm sure Set's getting in on the action.
You guys are really tempting the internet gods today on Halloween.
Truth Decay got their chesh.
Ooh, that's good.
Woo.
Glad to hear it.
We are getting not a lot, but apparently some of the parcels are taking quite a while to deliver.
Yep.
Our usual maybe 2 to 3 weeks is sometimes 4 to 5 now, and I don't know why.
I don't either. I don't know if it's a trade war thing or if it's a seasonal thing. It's hard to say. Yeah, so, I think flipping back and forth between these two and seeing the progression, pretty interesting. I definitely like this final version a lot. One point, though, I'm not sure I'm a fan of, and Omri can take this as a note and think about it. These arms feel very, dare I say, Blade Runner-y. I mean, they feel sort of what you'd expect a replicant to look like. Very robotic, very... You know what I'm saying?
I get it. They do look like some sort of modern android jointed arm.
They're like Alita Battle Angel arms, right?
But if they were sort of like transparent and those lines was kind of like rusty metal between them, it may look more like a stained glass arm. Not sure.
Is that what he's going for? I'm not sure. But anyway, I feel like these, I'd rather see them done up in something that felt a bit more archaic. This feels very modern. It feels like a very industrialized, refined production process that would lead to something like this. And I don't think that fits with what we see here as sort of typewriters and filing cabinets. So it's this weird clash between the archaic and the old, and then this feels like it's straight out of Tron, right? Maybe I think what I'd rather see here are more kind of metallic, mechanical arms as opposed to these shiny glass things.
Right.
Yeah, something to think about.
Yeah.
I do like the stars, in the background. I think that's a pretty... So,
I like that I've just noticed that the reams of paper are becoming the maze.
Yes. Yeah, he did make that change. So there was the first version, there's the final version, but yeah, you can see here he just had sort of a labyrinth of straight-edged walls, and then in the final version he's converted that into the reams of paper. And of course the reams of paper all say, "It's your fault.
Get bent."
I don't know that any of them say "get bent," but I guess
should do in the game. They should be just in the entire maze. There should be just one line that says "get bent," and it's an achievement if you see it and stare at it.
I suppose that "get bent" could be the judgment that the queen passes down onto the people who are found guilty. And of course, if you've seen the artwork of what happens to them when they are determined to be guilty, they end up going back behind this courthouse thing into, we've decided it's a sort of like deadly croquet game. So you're sentenced to die by balls. That is croquet balls. And so, you know, could be that the sentence is passed on and you're told to get bent.
Maybe.
That'd be kind of fun.
I like in the chat here all the dabbing. We've got the Dab Nation, the Dabpocalypse, but I quite like Philippe Bedoya's Dabnarok. That's a good one.
Greg has got a good point here, saying that it looks like one of these stylized versions of the Soviet brutalism mixed with robots. Actually,
it was that robot, wasn't there? In 1984, I remember the imagery. But I mean, that's obviously still far too advanced for Alice.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like about the posters. If you look at some of the Italian and Soviet fascist era posters, they also use this motif of the black, the red, and the white, right? And I think that the point being made there is a good one, that there's a sort of, you know, fascist industrialist mixture that is, we're on the edge of capturing it in this poster.
Yeah.
That Omri's done. That's actually probably not a bad thing to give him as a kind of creative note, is to find a way to mix this kind of industrialization concept, this kind of the fonts and whatnot, into the final version of the posters and the iconography of the Queen's Domain. Actually makes a lot of sense. So let's have a look at that.
I think so. Omri, if you're listening.
Yeah. I wonder if that was an official Eminem poster. That seems wrong. It seems like Eminem would be wrong to play off of something that resulted in the deaths of millions. But hey, what do I know? But yeah, I mean, I like this. You know, you've got the books, you've got the quill, you've got the factories. This is what I'm talking about. You've got the chains. I think the concept of chains makes a lot of sense. Wow, this is very cool. That is very, very cool. So yeah, let's see if Omri can't riff on that and maybe make those arms a little more industrial.
Guys peeking over the top of the tank.
Coming to get you.
Oh no.
They are coming to get you. So yeah. Let's not talk about communism. From the heart of communism. Let's leave that alone. Alrighty. So yeah, that is pretty cool piece of art.
On that piece of art for a while, didn't we?
Well, I'm a big fan of that. I think it's a pretty cool one. So yeah. Moving on. What have we got? Got doors.
The doors.
I was never a fan of the doors. How about you?
Really?
No.
Come and get your real fake doors.
So this was something that came up recently where Omri and I were talking about sort of the fast travel mode inside of the game, and Omri mentioned that he felt like the whole train station thing, I don't know, I can't remember his exact comment, but he just felt like there was maybe a better way to represent Alice's fast travel through all of the different realms of Wonderland. And he wanted to think about replacing the trains and the train station with a kind of library of doors.
Okay. I mean, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with that idea, but I think it's been done a fair few times now, hasn't it?
Well, so has a train station. I mean, I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2 right now, and of course one of their modes of fast travel is literal trains. So I think that just because the thing has been done doesn't necessarily preclude us from exploring it. The doors concept has been done, the trains have been done. I think Omri's point may have been that this is a little more, it's a bit more expedient. Like, you go in there, you open a door, you walk through it, you're gone, right? You're in the next zone.
Right.
Whereas with the trains, it's sort of like you got to go, maybe you got to buy a ticket, you got to get on a train, you got to wait for the train to start moving. You know, the train's got to go somewhere and then arrive, and then you got to get off, and maybe you left your bag on the train, and oh man, I got to go back and, you know, report a lost or stolen bag. And anyway,
I'm sure that could be sped up somewhat.
Well, sure. I'm sure it could be, and it, you know, could also be that sort of the train. I don't know. Obviously, there could be something magical about the train and the train stations in general. I mean, maybe you buy a magic ticket and woof, you know, you're gone. Anyway, all that being said, I actually like the doors concept a lot. I like the idea that there's a library of doors, and the doors lead to the various zones. Kind of like the Hall of Doors motif, and I also think that as an interface, you know, just identifying that, like, hey, I want to go to the Mad Hatter's domain. I simply walk through that door that's got the Mad Hatter sign over the top of the door, and boom, I'm there. I don't know.
Eva Marie, though, says the train station already kind of has its roots in Wonderland.
Yep. So
it's, yeah, I think.
I said that to Omri as well. I said, look, you know, whatever happens, we have to recognize there is a looking glass line as a concept in the Alice books, and we've actually included that in the previous game as well. And we're going to build these elements anyway, so, you know, why not follow through? I don't know. It's something.
Indeed it is. As is Ice Killer's super chat.
What's he saying?
Thank you very much. Here is to celebrate my 2-year anniversary with you guys, which is exactly on this day.
Wow.
Is it? So have some beers or whatever, or maybe some Lulu treats.
No, thank you.
Oh, no beer for you.
Not drinking anymore.
But
thank you for that, Ice Killer.
I'll have yours.
All right. Just not in front of me.
Okay.
So yeah, Ice Killer has been 2 years. We did do an update recently talking about just how long this process is taking, how long we might expect it to take. That actually makes a pretty good segue to something I wanted to mention, which was that usually when it comes to business development in the Western world, we can expect that between Thanksgiving-ish, which I think is in November, something like that. But essentially, once Thanksgiving happens, and then through the Christmas holiday and New Year's, Western New Year, until sort of middle of January, nothing gets done. The entire Western business development world essentially goes on an extended holiday. And one of the reasons is that if you, say Martin was on one side of a potential deal and I was on the other, and we had our various legal departments and law firms and whatnot engaged, the chance that in amongst the group, any one critical person might be off for either a Christian or Jewish or other holiday, it's very high. And so the whole process would just stop over and over. And so I think that somehow in the world of, you know, business development of big Western companies, they just threw their hands up and said, you know what, F it. Between Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, everything's just on hold.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So
I mean, it is a bunch of holidays and breaks all in a row.
It is.
Especially now in this global world we live in.
Yeah. So I don't know. We did this update the other day kind of talking about the stages and the steps we've been through so far in pitching EA on a license proposal and kind of the twists and turns that have taken place. And you can see that between the various steps, there can be periods of like months that go by without a response from them. And we happen to be in the middle of one of those. And I was just saying to Martin the other day, I expect we won't hear EA with regards to the latest round until after these holidays.
Grr.
Not much you can do.
Not really.
No.
Just deal with it.
Anyway, congratulations on 2 years. And while we're here, Ice Killer, maybe get ready for another year, because we can't make this go any faster. But in the meantime, what we can do is continue to produce all the art and the story and all of this stuff that we're doing.
So it's ready to go.
Yeah.
When?
So.
Yeah. Alice on Elm Street, thank you for the super chat. What about a train station of doors? You stand on the platform, get the ticket for where you want to go, and train sounds play as the correct door arrives at the station in some way. Even more Monsters Inc. with the door coming to you.
Yeah, isn't that how it works in Monsters Inc?
It is.
Yeah.
Put the card in, and then the rails bring the door.
Yeah, let's not get sued. Somebody says, let's not upset the mouse. Exactly. Someone else says, American is looking pretty dad-like today. I said my costume is American Dad. I'm not joking. I'm dressed as Dad today. All of the bad jokes that go along with. Right. So where were we in art review? We were looking at the Queen's Domain and the work that Omri had been doing. Now, he has recently turned in an updated version of this, which I think is going to become an art print, a poster.
I think it certainly shall.
And this is, of course, the throne room, the Queen's throne room. And we did get an update in this because I wasn't a big fan of what they were doing with the card guards previously.
The more sort of cyber robotic ones,
Yeah,
which looked fairly cool.
They did.
Not too appropriate.
But I don't know that that's in this scene. I don't think they were doing the cyber robot card guards. They had something kind of guards or card guards, but I felt like they were blending into the background quite a lot.
Okay.
And then I think Omri did a version or variation on. We'll just flip through the art. Oh, there it is. Okay. Omri did a variation on the card guards per my request, which was to say, like, hey, we had these metal card guards in Madness Returns. Please just riff on those as the guys who would be protecting the Sunferno or the Sunnis. What did we call it? Cernus? The sun captured beneath the Queen's castle. So anyway, he did this, and then I think after he did this updated version, he went back into this poster in the throne room on sort of integrating them.
Look good. I like their chainmail.
They're pretty cool, and this scene is pretty cool. And I think this is obviously this is one of Alice's confrontations with the Queen. I would imagine that this is her first visit, and this would be after she sort of has fought her way in bloody fashion to the throne room, and then only to realize that, like, you can't win. And at this point, she's going to have her rabbit taken away from her, and she's going to be told by the Queen that the only way to survive is to join the dark side.
Was it, did we call it the Sunjin?
Yeah, you're keeping the sun in a dungeon, aka the Sunjin. Sounds about right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Don't know.
So this poster, I think it's going to get quite a bit more work. I mean, this is still not, I wouldn't call this final. I don't even know. Is that a frog? But I think it's the frog footman.
Right.
But he looks pretty sketchy.
I could do that in MS Paint.
Could you?
I think I probably could get close.
No, I don't know if I believe you.
Maybe I could do it in
to her. Is that like
a bowl of prunes?
Why does it look like a brain, like a blackened brain?
I don't know.
A bowl of prunes.
Maybe.
As Rorschachs go, Martin, you see a bowl of prunes and I see a blackened brain. What does that say about us?
I'll have to Google that.
Well, this is a good segue. This is a segue to we're going to be doing our first giveaway of prizes because it is 9:30 here in Shanghai. And so what you need to do is spam up the chat with, what the hell is that thing? I want to know.
What the hell is that thing?
What is the frog footman handing to Alice here in the center? Martin says,
a bowl of prunes.
And I say a blackened brain. So there's no right or wrong answer. This is just for fun. But if you spam up the chat, it will let Nightbot know that you're down to win full on Out of the Woods collection, the game, the illustrated book.
And the coloring book.
So let us know.
Speaking of you saying it's a good Rorschach test, you should watch the Watchmen TV series.
Oh, yeah?
It's just started, 2 episodes in. It's great.
I have to say, I watched The Boys on your recommendation,
It's
and
also great.
it is great, but man, is it dark. And I mean, it just doesn't get any better. You know, the final reveal was just like a kick in the, it was tough.
It was
That's a tough show.
sounding sounding like you weren't enjoying it at some point.
We
saying,
were
"Oh, it's a bit
okay.
obvious."
No, I said there were elements that were obvious. There were elements that were clearly meant to be obvious. But I mean, as far as guessing where that was going to go in the end, I mean, I had kind of had it pass over in my mind a few times. Maybe the wife's not really dead, but then there was
spoilers.
Oh, oops.
maybe
not dead. But then the space aliens show up and everybody gets brain transplants. And I mean, it's hard to follow. Anyway, The Boys is good. And so you're saying that The Watchmen is good too.
I've enjoyed the first 2 episodes. That's all there is so far.
All right.
Yeah, The Boys, watch it.
Yeah.
I think Homelander is a great character. Maybe for all the wrong reasons.
The problem, and I see Magus is saying no spoilers. So the problem is, I'd love to comment on this. I'd love to comment on Homelander. I'd love to comment, and I can't now, because anything I might say, let's just say it's a very twisted TV show, and it definitely will mess with you. We'll talk about this at lunch today over not beers.
Yeah.
All right.
So what are people saying is in that bowl?
Saying? What is that? You're saying that's a bowl? That's not a bowl. It just looks like a. Where's the plate? There's just
a white disc.
But it's all the way around it. It's like a glowing orby.
It's perspective.
I don't. Anyway, let's see what they say.
Well, Ice Killer literally says a bowl of black stuff. Okay.
Wow.
Easter egg, a lump of ruin.
A lump of ruin is interesting. An ASDF says
tadpole, a rock.
Kidney stones.
Speaking of the rock, I brought Hobbs and Shaw.
Woo! But you brought a perfectly legal DVD.
I bought it
copy
from the shop.
Sure, right. Okay. A dish of blood, says Jane Moffat. A burnt fart. I almost read that as fart. My eyes are a little blurry. I guess a burnt fart would look like that.
Her Haid.
All right. It's the wolf head of House Stark. That's pretty good. Jelly, tadpole, coal for the naughty, Halloween candy. That black goop, says Dougie Fresh. A lot of tadpole. Why? What is this?
Is that Dougie Fresh, like the hip hop artist from the 80s?
I don't know, but anyway, it's quite a few interesting interpretations of what's going on there.
Yeah.
And tadpole seems to be getting a lot of heated dispel yell. I don't know if you know this, but repeating the thing over and over doesn't really make Nightbot notice you. Of course, I'll say that, and then we'll roll it, and dispel will win. So let's test this. Let's see if that works. Ready?
Roll it.
No, Stephanie. That's just such a normal name, Stephanie. Don't you know that normally we have to read names that we can't even pronounce or read? But congratulations, Stephanie. You have won the Out of the Woods whole full-on Halloween gift set. And in order to claim your prize, you do need to scroll down to the description below. There is a block of text that explains how to write an email to us to say, I won. Not me, but you. You won. And it also says you need to do all that within 24 hours. So.
Is that text updated? Is it the mysterious @ email address? Because using support@mysterious.design would be better.
You're making it confusing.
I'm just saying it would be better.
You're really making it confusing. So, yeah. Anyway, as Philippe says, congrats, Stephanie. Please do the thing. Scroll down. Don't listen to Font Lord. He's very confusing. Scroll down, follow the instructions. All right, back to art review. This is apparently Iceland.
I don't recall Iceland looking like that.
Have you been to Iceland?
I haven't, but I've seen it on telly.
I can't believe anything you see on telly. So this is from Joey. Joey says, Iceland view when Alice first entered. Later she goes through all the ice mountains and arrives at the wild frozen lake where the caterpillar stays. Maybe she fulfill some requirements to unfreeze the caterpillar, who send her to the next place with his smoke.
Yeah, we've talked about that before, haven't we? Having his sort of frozen word bubbles be some kind of puzzle.
Right, and then you have to melt the word bubbles in order to get the information out, right?
To unfroze the caterpillar.
Yeah. So yeah, this is Iceland. I mean, I'm not really sure in what zone we've decided we might see this. I feel like ice, coldness, whatever, would probably make a lot of sense for the realm of depression.
Might make sense.
Might make sense.
In the depression realm.
Sure. But if we go over to the Asylum wiki, you can scroll down and you can see all the different areas. Why do I feel like depression would be the place that you'd put that? I think that it even says that in here. It says like the mock turtle here. Sure. Anyway, we'll have to figure out where the icy zone lives.
Yeah. Speaking of the wiki, I noticed some of the newer people we have in chat, they're asking what, to us, would be some fairly obvious questions.
Okay.
You know, how far along is the story? Have you approached EA?
Right.
So,
go for it.
Go check out the wiki and see just exactly how much progress has been made. It's full O progress. And you can find that at americanmcgee.com/Asylum wiki.
You could just go to americanmcgee.com and then there's a button at the top of that or somewhere. Oh, it's here on the side. It just says Asylum wiki. And if you click on that, it will take you here. And as Martin just said, the wiki is full of all of the story that we've done so far. So what is the story? So there's a little paragraph on the high level story, but there's also tons of detailed story stuff going on in here, including dialogue and stage by stage elements of the journey that she's going to go through, the obstacles that she has, the enemies that she meets. And we have of late been focused on anger. So anger, you can see that Taylor, one of our wiki, done a good job of filling in all the details on the kind of enemies you'll meet, and the weapons that you will carry, the dresses you will wear, then also the various steps that you will go through as you progress through anger until your final meeting starts. So a lot of information up there.
And also, if you're interested, on American's YouTube channel, which you are at right now, there is a playlist of FAQs, which you might like to check out if you are new here, that's got a ton of info. So, yeah. Questions like,
someone is asking, will it only be on PC? That's actually an FAQ question.
It won't.
And answered. So go watch the FAQs. Same thing goes for the question about where things are with EA. There's videos up there in the FAQ that explain in excruciating detail the process and where we are at in that process right now. There you go.
Ooh, Eva Marie sending us some knock. Love some knock. My Chesh plush arrived today. He is so soft and cuddly. I can't wait to cuddle him when I go to bed. Hopefully he can cheer me up, because university is kicking me hard with assignments and exams. I hope he cheers you up. Chesh. Cheer Eva Marie up. Do it.
It does seem like they are arriving. They're arriving in droves around the world now. So forward with art review. This was actually a variation on an element of the Queen's Castle. This was originally done by Joey, but she'd done a color scheme that didn't really fit in with the Queen's domain. And
the old blue sky.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's the one. So we spoke with her and we said, hey, knock it off. We need to have this match the zone in which it's going to reside, that being the Queen's domain. And so color was adjusted on this. Now I much prefer this, at least as far as fitting it into the correct area the game goes. Looks pretty good.
Does look good. I still think this would make a great print.
I think you might be right. I guess if I was going to see this as a print, I'd want to see the detail kind of filled in a bit, because it's a little bit brushy in here. I mean, I'm sure you could do this in MS Paint, right?
I probably could, add a few more % of quality to it.
Yeah, like maybe 3.2%, 3.3%
Good guess, good guess.
So I'd like to see that done. I think also when it comes to a print like this, it'd be, I don't know. When I have these, I sometimes I like to see that Alice herself is like stood in the environment somewhere.
Taking a selfie.
Not taking a selfie. I mean, that would be cute. It'd be fun, but not for something I'm going to hang on the wall. But yeah, I think this art print, or if this was an art print, it needs a little bit more finaling.
Indeed, it does.
To get there. Yeah, it turned out pretty cool.
Yeah.
Way to go, Joey. I think she also did a little bit of updating and kind of cleaning up on this one. Again, this is in the Queen's domain. You can tell because the sky's on fire and these trees are on fire. Wait a second. This is just Los Angeles, where I'm going. Oh no. So yeah, that is an updated version of Queen's domain, sort of the area, the forest outside of the castle. And again, all of this stuff, elements of this are covered over on the wiki. If you scroll down to the stage called Anger, and then you see kind of like the steps that Alice is taking to get through the Queen's domain. And I think these pictures, there it is. That's the original. That's the royal forest in the original format before Joey went in there and sort of fired it up.
And removed Chesh.
I didn't like that Cheshire in there.
Yeah, that's it does seem a bit out of place-ish.
Yeah,
exactly.
So getting a couple comments there. Holy crap, that's amazing.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Dougie Fresh keeps asking questions.
Dougie,
it's in the wiki that we just said.
Yeah, go check out the wiki, Dougie. Go check out the FAQs, Dougie. You can do it. You can do it.
Yo.
Not gonna know what that means.
Add oil.
And that doesn't make any sense.
Do your best.
There you go. So this is another work in progress that Omri's working on, and I love this. I think this is a really good, really amazing. This will be a very good art print. Now, he said the name of this model when he sent the email over, and he said that yes, he's got permission from her. I believe this is one of his, maybe one of his friends, or maybe, I don't know, a cosplayer. But anyway, apparently he found the picture, he liked it, and he's been doing editing on this. So this is sort of stage one.
Kind of makes it look like the Vorpal blade is transparent. Like it's a glass blade a little bit.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because over on my Facebook page, when I put this up, someone, one of the people that follows my Facebook page apparently, made a silly comment, and I had to make a silly comment back. I can't help myself.
I know you like to poke and be sarcastic sometimes.
It's the I read somewhere that sarcasm is somehow an indicator for intelligence. Like the more sarcastic your child is, the smarter they will grow up to be. Have you ever heard that before?
I hear like the opposite, really. Like sarcasm is the lowest form of wit or something.
That was clearly said by a stupid person. So anyway, I posted this up on my Facebook page, and it got a lot of positive comments from everybody. But then this one guy, and I'm sorry, please, I'm not trying to dogpile him or anything. I'm just making a point about how I can't. I have a really difficult time with stuff like this. So he shows up and he says, "Nose lines up, but not the mouth," which is kind of going to the point that you just made.
Right.
That it kind of looks like the blade may be transparent. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
The reflection.
Yes. I get that.
Okay.
But you can see it kind of both ways.
But why? No, it's the Vorpal blade. It's shiny. It's a mirror reflection. And so when someone shows up and says that the nose lines up but not the mouth, I'm like, well, it's not supposed to line up. It's a reflection. Clearly, this face, if this was even a possible shot to take, this is the face of Shadow Alice reflected back in the Vorpal blade. They're sort of face to face with one another, right? So that
Yeah.
there should be a kind of misalignment. So
what did you say?
What do I? Well, just because I feel he's being very nitpicky and he's sort of missing the point, I wrote.
You should put a comma before
but only when
only
but is
when-
connecting to independent clauses. So I'm being pedantic, in other words, as he's being pedantic. He's come along. There's a beautiful piece of artwork, and he misses the point entirely to criticize whether or not some element is lining up or not. So I had to criticize his grammar. Now, I believe that is the lowest form of wit, not sarcasm.
All right.
I believe criticizing someone's grammar when they make a comment you don't
Grammar,
like.
being a grammar Nazi is the lowest form of wit.
Yes, and I admit to partaking in that. So there you go.
Right. Lucas Severin is back. Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you, Lucas.
Sing, insane children. Our gal Alice is queen of the madness. Everyone hail to the insane queen now. Is this supposed to be sung to a certain song? This is Wonderland. This is Wonderland. Wonderland, Wonderland. In this land we call home, everyone hail to the insane song. I feel that is supposed to probably be sung in tune with an existing song.
Maybe we can get Lucas to sing and record a version of that for us all to enjoy.
Maybe.
Alrighty, back to art review. So this is cool. I like this print a lot. I like the Vorpal blade and the reflection of Shadow/Chaos Alice in the blade. And I can't wait to see a final version of this.
Now, would this make a good print? Or is having such a close-up of a face a bit weird to have up on your wall?
I believe this would make a fantastic print, and I wouldn't have an issue with the face close-up at all. I mean, don't we... A lot of our posters feature close-up creepy faces. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of Vorpal blades and faces... what's going on here? I'm going to let you talk about this a little bit.
Well, we are looking into doing our next Patreon goal. We like to do, a big goal followed by a smaller goal. So yeah, the last big one we did was the plush. And yeah, the next one people have been asking for is enamel pins. That's been on people's radar for quite a while. So we are now looking into pulling the trigger on that. We've been talking to production companies. We get cold emails about these quite a lot. So we contacted one of those and they can do them. They've given us some pricing and whatnot. And we've been talking to Jen and Omri about doing a bunch of designs that we're going to put up for people to vote on. This isn't one of them. It's not ours. So yeah, enamel pins, the Patreon goal is coming soon, and there will be a set on a piece of card. They're going to be 4 pins or 3?
So I think what we've discussed is there will be 4 pins on the card, and then there's going to be a 5th pin floating loosely, and the 5th pin by itself will be the only one. The only way to get that is if you are a patron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think what we've decided is, and we looked at the pricing and everything, and in order to make it work, it's going to have to be at our. Is it our $30? We have a $35 tier.
We've got a 35. But that will include like the pack of 4, the Patreon exclusive, and that will count towards your 1 month at the 3 for 35 art print goal.
Right.
So it's not bad value, and of course shipping anywhere in the world.
Yeah, I went and looked at these on Amazon, and what I found was a pin set of like 4 or 5 decent quality, and especially if they're kind of based on some sort of a known property or a license, they can run anywhere from $10 to $20, and then you've got to pay like another $6 to $10 in shipping. So you could be paying, anywhere from like $16, $20, no, $30. go from 10 to 20 on the price, and then 10. So you could be paying as much as $30 for, like, they had one that was like a Van Gogh face with like a separate little ear pin. I thought that was really cute. But like if you went for that, I think you're all in for $30 or something. So
right.
I don't know. It's always tough to tell, what we do in terms of pricing. But the other thing we looked at was not wanting to cause confusion with the tiers and the pricing and all this kind of stuff. Oh, look at that. The devil. This is funny. I'll get to this in a moment. But yeah, I mean, we don't want to add another tier because it causes confusion when we ask people to switch around and mess around with tiers, right?
Yes.
So we could do it at 15, but we figured out that if we did it at 15, we would actually lose money.
Yeah.
And then so we have to bump it up to the 35. So anyway, at some point, get ready. There will be a promotion in like a month or two for a set of pins. But before that, we'll get a bunch of art from Jennifer. I think we're going to put together, what did we say, like 10 or 12 example pieces?
Yep.
Right. And then the example pieces, you, the Insane Children, will be able to help us select the 5 final ones. That is 4 regular plus the 1 Patreon exclusive pin. And I don't know, if you've been around, you know how we do these offers and whatnot, which is an interesting segue to this. I don't know if you can all see this as an overlay on my screen. This just popped up. Patreon has been working on this. I wonder if I'm not supposed to talk about this because this is still in limited release, but basically they're trying to do their own merchandising program. And this is actually one of the reasons why I've been invited to Patreon's Assembly, which is like their annual get together of creators, but now it's a very exclusive event. So I'm only one of a small handful of creators who got invited to this year's event. And one of the reasons I've been invited is because apparently we've been killing it with regards to how we leverage Patreon to produce and then send out physical goodies. And then so you've been working with BackerKit a lot on that stuff.
Yeah, I'm always dealing with those dudes.
And they are part of the invite. They're the ones that I think kind of they've helped to put all this together. So
right.
We owe them a shout out for helping kind of get us, I don't know, on the schedule and invited out there and stuff like that. I don't normally.
You're going with Max?
Max and Kayla, I think, is the other person that I'm going with. So yeah, there's a couple of things. There's some sort of Patreon summit thingy that I'm going to. That's why I'm going to Los Angeles. And yeah, I mean, apparently this has a lot to do with Patreon wanting to make a transition towards being able to enable creators to send out physical stuff to their backers, because that seems to work. Like we're a good proof of concept that works. Mm-hmm. I mean, all that being said, from what I understand, they're basically doing what looks like a kind of piggyback on top of a service like Printful, which means that there's a sort of web interface. You just drop your art onto a coffee mug or a t-shirt, and then they spit it out the back end. Now, I'm guessing that this is fairly... It's designed to be really frictionless for Patreon creators, but I also think it's sort of limited in terms of you're not going to get a lot of creativity out of it. Like, they're not going to be able to offer enamel pins or embroidered patches or, one-off custom toy stuff to people. So and I've also seen the pricing on this. It's sort of similar to like how we offer t-shirts over on Mysterious, but like when we offer one of these t-shirts for $20, we pay Printful like $17 or something.
We see like 7 cents of that.
Yeah, we get very little. And so what happens, I think, for the Patreon setup is that, if you're a Patreon creator and you're trying to offer this t-shirt to your patrons, you have to price it a t-shirt at like $30 or $40 in order to even clear any profit at all, because you're getting charged $20+ plus the Patreon fees plus the credit card fees plus, I mean, it's like
Yeah, the guys over there, they must be swimming in giant pools of coins, like Scrooge McDuck or something.
At Printful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. But you know what we've done is a little different because we tend to do custom stuff. Like we did a custom chaos necklace, which you get for being a patron at a level. We did these, chaos coin, and this whole set, and like a bag, in a box and a card, and we do wallets, and we do these art prints, and all this stuff is custom, specific to our projects. We do plushes, but these actually, they're not just dragging a logo onto a coffee cup. It actually goes to this whole concept that we've been focused on of crowd design, which is involving you, the audience, in the things that we create and making that creation process kind of part of the fun. Yeah,
pretty much. So, I mean, take a look at what Patreon's offering, but
yeah. Anyway, so that is why I'm going over to Los Angeles. But yeah, I think it's funny that is literally popping up on Patreon as we're going over there to talk about our tiers. Is that like, hey, Patreon wants you to do merch for membership? Well, thanks Patreon, but we already do that. Yeah. All right, that was a big segue.
It was.
I think it's time for prizes.
You think?
Yep.
Bats and Tombstones has turned up.
Yay, welcome Bats and Tombstones.
I've not seen them in ages.
We do have a question before we get the spam going on in the chat.
Yeah,
Ice Killer says,
would you do a short vlog of your experience at the Patreon assembly, as your panel doesn't look like it will be streamed based on the schedule?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I've been invited to a number of things. I'm going to some sort of dinner on Friday night, and then I've got some sort of panel, and then I've got to go to the main event, and then I've got some sort of interview, and then I fly back home. Only in Los Angeles basically for that event, and then I'm back. But yeah, I could take along
a little GoPro on a stick, travel vlog as you did sometimes when you were traveling to factories and whatnot in China.
I will do that for you, Ice Killer.
For you.
For $5.
You'll get $5 worth of vlog.
Right.
Vlog.
I will do that for you. Already. So now we need a question for them to spam up the chat with.
I had a good question.
Go for it. I don't believe you.
I was thinking about questions on the way over this morning.
I don't believe you. I think it's impossible for you to have a good question.
No, it is. What is your favorite movie to watch on Halloween? A good Halloween movie for you.
Okay.
All right.
I'll give you that one. That one's okay.
Because this morning I used the Mandy GIF that I've got on my phone for a friend. I just remembered how mental Mandy was.
That's a pretty messed up one. So do you have a Halloween movie?
I'm just going to say Mandy because I've said it now. And it's kind of gory and violent and bloody. Yeah. So yeah, watch Mandy.
I mean, I remember when I was a kid, Halloween would come around and we would put together stacks of VHS tapes, and there would be the literal Halloween movies in there, the Freddy movies, Nightmare on Elm Street movies would be in there. So I recall that as a kid being a thing, like, hey, it's Halloween, let's watch scary movies. I think as an adult, I say two of my favorite sort of go-to horror films. One is John Carpenter's The Thing, and the other one is Shining, the Kubrick version of Stephen King's Shining. Those are my...
Right.
Apparently, American's Face is the horror movie that Wendy would watch.
I watched the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre a few days ago. I mean, it does what it says on the tin. It's gory, it's tense, it's scary, it's full of, disgusting shizzle. But I was getting really angry. I mean, it had every single horror trope that you could throw at a van full of young, hot people who find themselves in the wilderness. I mean, driving without looking at the road, running without being able to see where you're going. He dropped his chainsaw, and while he was attacking someone, and the girl decides to try and help her friends by doing the little girly pat on Leatherface's back.
Right.
You know, don't use the weapon that got dropped. It had every single trope in it. Yes, it was a violent and bloody film, but ooh, it made me mad.
I get the feeling people are not watching those movies because they expect cinematic greatness, or even...
I expect common sense in my movies.
I mean, somebody did mention Cabin in the Woods, which is a fantastic one as far as sort of playing on the tropes goes in horror films. If you've never seen that movie, highly recommended. It is
a fantastic movie.
All right, let's see what Nightbot thinks about who said what. And Socks for Life.
Socks for Life.
I don't understand. What does that have to do with anything? Why would you say Socks for Life?
Well, they're pretty comfy.
Is that it? Or is it that socks bring life? I don't understand Socks for Life. Anyway, Socks for Life. We don't have to understand your name for you to win. You have one, and so do scroll down to the description below, and there is going to be a blob of text that explains to you.
Out of the Woods game. Coloring book. Illustrated book.
You know, I was in the middle of my spiel. I was right in the middle of my spiel.
Oh, you can continue it now.
No, I didn't. I
lost. Quiet.
No, I lost my.
Do you want me to finish it?
Yes.
Are you going to interrupt me? Look down at the text below, and there you will find instructions on how to claim your prize.
Hey, look, there's a makeup factory. Hey, look, there's me in a makeup factory. Wow. Hey, what's going on? Look, that's back when I had a goatee or a facial hair. There's a makeup factory, lab coats.
When Yenny had a human inside her.
She did have a baby going on at that point. Alrighty. Let's get back to it. Where were we?
Red Sox. What team?
There you go.
You should know that. The American.
Never baseballed. Now, before we do move on, I think it is important that we say a quick shout out to our favoritist and biggest sponsors that would be our friends over at Freaky Fandoms, Andrew, Deborah, and of course they would be doing something quite special for Halloween. What are they doing, Martin?
It looks like they're going to be looking at the movie The Blob.
Oh,
the
look,
remake.
There's a Cheshire Kitten. Oh, hey, what's going on there? Have you seen our Cheshire Kitten before?
You're not interrupting me.
Quite nice.
You're interrupting Andrew and Deborah.
No.
With your nonsense.
No, I just thought everybody'd like to see that Cheshire Kitten.
Yes, The Blob, the remake, not the original. And I really like this movie.
I've never seen it.
I mean, I remember when this came out, and I couldn't wait to see it, because the original was fine, and I just like the idea of an amorphous blob from space coming down and just absorbing stuff and getting bigger and bigger. Yeah, it's a great movie. I also highly recommend watching this, but yeah, it looks like Freaky Fandoms will also be dissecting The Blob on their podcast. So I will certainly be having a listen of that wherever they do it. SoundCloud, Spotify?
They are on Spotify,
yeah,
iTunes.
So they're all around the place. So yeah, go and give them a listen. They've got like hundreds of episodes under their belt now. So I'm sure you will be able to find something to tickle your fancy.
They do good stuff. And as we always say, they support us. So if you support them, then you are maybe vertently. Can you vertently support something?
Yes.
So anyway, you are indirectly supporting us as well. So do go and give them a listen.
Please do.
Please do. Now, while we are on the topic of Halloween and things that are special for Halloween, there is one more thing we should mention very quickly. That is that there is a 2-for-1 art print Halloween special going on over at our Patreon right now. If you want to participate in that, you have to be at the $75 level.
Indeed you do.
And then you get this crazy Hallowed Alice, I think is the name of the poster.
I think it is.
And you also get this giant Cheshire Cat grin poster. 2 posters. They're big. How big are they, Martin?
Around 47 centimeters by 65-ish or thereabouts.
Something like that. So if you're interested in that, this is becoming the final hours in which you can take advantage of that deal. So do head over to Patreon and do the thing.
Yeah, there isn't much longer, is there? Before the end of the month. So get in there if you want that double special bundle this month.
There you go. I think we're getting pretty close to the end of art review here. Let's just do a quick. This is the Sunjin. This is the Sunjin room. I think we might have looked at this before. It's essentially the final version.
Yeah, we might have. Maybe.
So this is where the queen has captured the sun, and she's using it to sort of power her nefarious deeds and her evil empire. We haven't really worked out exactly what it is that she's doing, what she's powering with that, but of course it's all a metaphor, right? It's a metaphor for capturing and trying to use your anger for some sort of good or some purpose or whatnot. And of course she'll learn that that only gets you so far, but it is the place where we find these metallic card guards, and so this will become the origin story for the metallic card guards that you encounter in Alice Madness Returns. So this is looking pretty cool.
Alice Asylum.
Well, you meet metallic card guards in Alice Madness Returns. Yeah.
What zone were they in? I can't remember them.
They were in the Queen of Hearts zone.
Okay.
There was the giant. Are you challenging me?
I'm just can't remember a metallic one when I was watching you do the playthrough.
Well, there was the giant card guard.
Remember him?
He was not made out of. He's not made out of metal, but these guys are. The card guard executioner is not metallic, but this guy, right. Armored card guard, you can see he's got a shiny metal skin. They had like a special attack.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what was going on there, but they were metallic.
Getting old, my memory's failing.
Yeah, so this is going to be sort of maybe the origin story for why these metal card guards exist. Is that they were tasked with whatever job it is that you do in the Sunjin.
Yep, you can't have paper cards in amongst all of that heat.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a surreal nonsense world, but gotta have a little bit of realism in it. Now, what's going on here? What's with these red and green?
It's on the other picture that Omri did. It's a valve, sort of a little dial, I believe.
Maybe it shows like when they've got too hot, and then they explode into a ball of fire. Interesting.
Maybe.
I don't know. All right. Anyway, so that's the maybe final art print for that Sunjin. This is of course the Queen's throne room, which we did have a look at previously. Courthouse, I think we've called this.
Right.
Iceland. I think we've been through a lot of this. Why is this in here?
I have no idea, because that poster we did 2 months ago. That's all done and dusted, but it is available over on the Mysterious shop now.
Right. Now this, I think we were thinking about, could be one of the enamel pins.
Yes.
I would like to see this as an enamel pin. I think
it is good, but I still say it's get bent.
As in G-E-T.
Yeah. Git just sounds too Wild West, yeehaw American for my tastes.
Well, I mean, Jin is a Canadian cowboy, so what do you expect?
Alice is a ye olde Cockney London gal.
Yeah, but it's this bottle that's saying it.
It's an American bottle.
Could be. So this was the pins stuff we did have a look at, and crowd design stuff, which was earlier this week. I don't know. It's kind of it. I mean, we did talk a bit about the Hatter's Domain, which is going to be the next zone that we explore, and I am very much looking forward to this. There was a bit of an explanation as to what's going on in the Hatter's Domain shared during this week's crowd design session. Did you catch much of that? Like the idea that I came up with for that?
I did. It was kind of a sort of meta modern type of idea that the Hatter believes the world he inhabits is a simulation and is not real.
Yeah, so I don't know how much you've followed of the concept of simulation theory, that perhaps we too, like you, Martin, me, and all of our insane children, everybody is perhaps living inside of a giant simulated existence. And I mean, as I watch the progression of technology in video games and they start to become more and more real, and the characters within them seem more and more lifelike, it's certainly not hard to imagine that, say, 20 years from now, we're going to have a very difficult time distinguishing between the reality of this that we're in and the potential, manufactured reality of a game or, some sort of social online experience. And of course, then there's this concept that once a society manages to achieve the technology where they're able to simulate themselves, they would necessarily, or perhaps some of them would sort of upload themselves into a matrix and choose to live there, and they could live as gods among men. And then, of course, the rest of us are just these sort of NPC characters that give flavor to the world. Anyway, based on all that, there are these scientists that are out there trying to kind of explore at the edges of what our sensor capabilities can do. And that means both in the micro scale, so zooming down to the quantum level, or in the macro scale, like zooming way out to the edges of the universe. And they're trying to discern whether or not, in effect, they can find like the edge of the pixels.
Yeah. There's, I think it was Horizon, the BBC science TV show.
Was that Brian Cox?
Different every time, depends what they're talking about. But on this one, it was a comedian that was doing it. Anyway, they had 2 episodes like kind of back to back, and one of them was like how small is the universe, and the other one was how big is the universe.
Right.
And they talked about all this, and it's super interesting. Alan Davies, he did them.
I'm pretty sure I've seen both of those, and they are both extremely interesting. And the whole concept that we're describing here as the potential for the universe as a simulation is also incredibly interesting. Of course, this is something that even as a child, I remember as a child, there was this notion inside of the New Age religion that, you create your own reality, right? Vanilla Sky was something that I mentioned during the crowd design session this week. It's a film, Tom Cruise, but I think there was a version before that, was the Spanish version that Penelope Cruz was in, that apparently they stole, Cameron Crowe stole from that director. Anyway, we won't go down there, but Vanilla Sky was another film in which, he'd had his mind uploaded into a system and then persisted after death inside a simulation. So what does all this have to do with Alice Asylum? Well, I had this idea, it's sort of connected to all of that, of, first of all, the Mad Hatter as Wonderland's resident scientist, right? And we've always had this notion of alchemy, and we're using alchemy as an analog to Alice's psychological journey. You see in some of the artwork, and we've done t-shirts and whatnot that say Salve et Coagula. In fact, it's on the shirt I'm wearing right now. The notion being that we're using alchemy, first of all, as the way that Wonderland is interpreted into the science that someone like the Mad Hatter might understand, but it's also the connection, the bridge back to whatever it is that's happening in Alice's psychological transformation as you move through these games, right? So all that's already there. It's already been there as a foundation. And then I started to have this thought that, like, if you were the Hatter and you're in your laboratory and you're trying to understand the mysteries of the universe, but for some reason you can't get 8 times 8 to figure, you'd kind of start to freak out, right? You'd be like, I can do 2 times 2, I can do 4 times 4. Why is it that I can't get 8 times 8 to come out on paper? Well, right. We, the viewer, and we've said this before, that nothing can exist in Wonderland that doesn't already exist in Alice's mind, right? She would have had to have some form of knowledge of, say, this is why she can't know about a microwave oven. It's why, someone at some point asked, well, what will you do about the transgender community or this issue inside of your game? And the simple answer was, we don't deal with that because Alice wouldn't have been aware of that at that age in her life, nor in Victorian era London would that have been a topic of great concern or of general knowledge. But perhaps Alice also doesn't know how to solve 8 times 8.
She's not good at maths.
Could be she's not good at maths. And so as the Hatter begins to explore around the edges of what constitutes his reality, he might start to realize that he kind of sort of figures that there's logical conclusions to questions that he has, and there's ways that these alchemical components ought to fit together, and if only he could sort of smash them together or break them apart or solve 8 times 8, he might be able to, he's probably trying to make a better invention. It might be at the request of the queen to make some sort of weapon or something, but in messing around with this stuff, he blows himself up.
As can be seen in the blown up image.
Yeah, so that is what this is. This is the Hatter's realm after he tried too hard to solve 8 times 8.
It's good that. I like that. As a scientist, he should have the intelligence to solve something so simple. And he's like, why can't I do this? What's wrong with the world?
Exactly.
I like it.
Now, I kind of think maybe sorta, as is the case with a lot of the things that we stumble upon as we move through the creation of the narrative for the new game, this could have fairly broad implications for the resolution of this game, and also how we link that resolution to the experience of the next 2 games that follow, and sort of like what it was that the ending of Madness Returns meant. And I'm not going to go in here and try to retcon everything with a sort of alternate universe or it was all a dream, but I do feel like I'm kind of on the edge of a fuzzy, perhaps, variation on you create your own reality and you relive certain aspects of the things that have been emotionally traumatic to you until those things shift in value. And when something shifts in value, you've recreated your reality. So for instance, you burn your hand and it's a fresh burn and it means one thing, but then it turns into a scar and it's another, and then the scar fades and it becomes a memory, and then it becomes a distant memory, and then you maybe even forget about it. Well, once you've forgotten about it, does a bear burn its hand on the stove in the woods? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that to you? And so when we have this adult Alice traveling back to the young Alice who's trapped in the loop of the trauma of her childhood, maybe something in this exploration of the nature of reality that the Hatter's doing helps to get young Alice out of that loop, and also does something to the resolution of adult Alice's story. So anyway, that's
pretty deep.
That's where we're going with this. And I know, it's funny because this is probably one of the, now I actually believe you could draw this. You could draw this in Microsoft Paint, Martin. I do not doubt that. And so looping back to the concept of the Rorschach test, one of the things that I find really interesting is that one of Omri's least detailed images, when I first saw this, I literally was like, what the F is that? But one of Omri's least detailed images actually spawned some of the thoughts about where this narrative might go that have kind of like got me more passionate than maybe any of the other stuff that we've been messing around with. So
right,
you never know where it's going to come from.
You never know.
You never know.
Horizon Brave not liking this art, says it sucks.
So what are the comments you're seeing over there?
I think people are liking that deep philosophical of fourth wall almost breaking Hatter idea.
B-Nuts says the simulation is programmed to prevent those in it from discovering the simulation. See, I'm of the belief that if what we're in is a simulation, there are actually levers that we can access to some degree. I don't know that it's programmed to prevent us from discovering the simulation. I think that when you discover it, maybe you ascend to a higher level or something like that.
Or if there was something preventing you from discovering it, the fact that there was something you couldn't discover
would be the indication.
Tip you off.
Exactly. Well, that's exactly why in this instance, like, the Hatter blows himself up. Mujakina says Abra los Ojos was the Spanish film. It's cool. Open your eyes. What that translates to in Spanish, and of course that was a big line first line of...
Apparently Alice has a small cameo in Fran Bow.
Oh. This is right. B Nuts says, why is a raven like a writing desk? This was another part of this whole like questions that can't be answered that came up, was that would be on the wall, and somehow in the reality which Hatter's trying to unfold, he can't get the answer to that, but there should be one, right? And I was thinking that would be a really fun link back to the Carol novels, where there's questions asked that prove, because we cannot answer why a raven is like a writing desk, we are inside.
Oh my god.
The simulation. That would be our 8x8 we can't solve.
Who knew it would get so deep today?
That was the thought that I was having. Hey, I'm feeding the baby. I tell you, when you're feeding a baby, you're holding a bottle in one hand and a baby in the other, and you can't look at your phone and you can't do anything else.
You start questioning reality.
It's a perfect time for deep thoughts. So, what else you got there?
Yeah, just joking with you, Horizon. Way to take my criticism out of context. We like to joke around here. Don't take it seriously. Yeah, there's a lot of like big comments going on idea, but yeah, people basically loving the idea.
Yeah, so I think we're going to continue to play around with that. Yeah, I'm kind of working towards whether or not Hatter's, exploration of the nature of his reality, which then goes to Alice's, which then somehow could go to ours, couldn't be kind of the sort of final aha moment in the game.
Right.
That is a big potential spoiler, though.
Oh yeah, spoilers if you're watching this video.
Yeah. Oh, I see. So this is the comment. Horizon Brave says, but the drawing is dull. But that was a follow-on. He previously said something about the idea goes mad trying to solve something so simple to everyone around him is genius, but the drawing is dull. Well, Horizon Brave, I think you've not been around before, but we actually go through the iterations of the artwork from these very Martin-esque.
I'll admit, though, this is probably one of the roughest first drafts I've ever seen.
Really, it's super rough. But yeah, we will eventually see a final finished something version. But this is all part and parcel of crowd design. I mean, like, everyone is getting to see these ideas as they evolve, like in real time. Here's some more.
What's going on here?
These are from Norm. He's working on monster designs for the Queen's Domain. And again, this is early days. It's pretty quick, sketchy stuff, but it will eventually turn into highly polished monsters. So it's kind of why we're here. I mean, we do say, Horizon Brave, that when you throw feedback at stuff, try to keep it constructive would be the, and also keep in mind that it is a process that we're.
Yeah. And yeah, like in this, he's got the tentacles in there, so that's good.
Yeah.
Tentacles make everything better.
Yeah, exactly. So that is where we're at with the Hatter's blowing his realm up and the nature of reality. Yeah, let's continue. Just kind of clear out any last bits of art. So this is something that Norm was working on. He actually, if you look at our Trello, look here. Over on Trello, we have enamel pin butts. I think this is all part of the enamel pin exploration process.
Indeed it is.
Yeah, but Norm turned in a bunch of heart monsters.
Ooh.
And so this is all part of the checklist of things that need to get done for the Queen's Domain. And we did finish up, I think Omri finished up the rough sketches on the Nave, who is going to be, he's the guy that betrays us in the Queen of Hearts domain.
It'll be a mini boss, perhaps. Lots of people want him as a mini boss.
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
Really? Did you like him in the portly fashion or in the skinny fashion?
I think skinny. There's a comment somebody had here that having him kind of like skinny and smug looking gives him a sort of like a Joffrey vibe that you just want to punch. So he would be a good baddie to have that air around him.
Yeah, I like the skinny version of this one as well. I think that this is a bit, I don't know. We've got other portly characters in the game. The queen herself is actually quite large. I don't think you want to be seen as somebody who's competing with her for calories. So you're probably better off.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then Norm is moving on to Hearts Monsters.
Okay.
I guess this would be the collection of baddies that you have to kind of fend off as you're invading the queen's domain.
I guess.
I see what he's doing here. He's trying to get me on the tentacles, even though I'm not sure that as a monster, I don't feel like there's enough kind of form here. And this also looks a lot like something you'd find in Doom.
It does.
You know? I don't know. We'll see.
But not the latest Doom movie. Well, you watched it.
I did watch it, and I was not terribly impressed. So yeah, that's some monsters that are getting done. It will be good to see what Omri does with this.
Yeah.
This is the next zone we're going to move into, which is the Hatter's domain, and I've told him that I think that this needs to be Bosch plus Escher on LSD. It's going to be a very surreal area, because as you could imagine, like if you've blown up reality and all the rules are busted, then when you go into that zone, it's going to be like that. Very surreal.
Right.
So that is what we're working on next.
This is going to be full of non-Euclidean shenanigans.
This is true. That would be a place we would put that to use for sure.
Mm.
That's a boat. So I guess that would give us a little quick transition to Pirate Jam. I did put this new version of the PDF. I don't know if it's gonna
Drag it into the Brave browser.
Am I brave enough to do that? Yeah. So Pirate Jam 2020 is happening. We've got on board. Oh,
Brave not like PDFs?
don't know.
Oh,
There it goes.
Fine.
So Pirate Jam is this thing we do every year in Thailand. This will be the 4th year. And I just had Alex do a revised version of, I guess we call this the sponsor overview deck.
Yes.
Is that right?
Seems accurate.
Yeah, so this is what we send out to people who are might be interested in sponsoring Pirate Jam. It kind of recaptures what you see on the website. And if you are interested, you can go to pirate-jam.com, though I kind of feel like our crew list might be kind of filled up by now, or almost getting there. I think we have a few more slots, but I will say what we do have is one of our sponsors is Unity, and they are specifically sponsoring for the inclusion of underrepresented groups. In other words, say female game developers. And so if you happen to be a female game developer or a game developer from a group that's not widely represented in the games industry, that could be because of the place in the world where you live or some other unique feature like that, then do reach out and let us know, because we do have some slots left open, which Unity is paying for. And yeah, this is sort of the plan, or the overview, the pitch that we send out to other potential sponsors, try to get them on board.
This is a fantastic looking PDF now.
It looks beautiful.
Really does.
Yeah, I think it looks
It
really
might
good.
even look better than the Alice pitch one that Alex did.
He did a good job.
He did.
Yeah, he really did a good job. I think the last thing we have to do is we're putting some quotes in here, and these are people who've sponsored in the past. And then it kind of goes through stats of like where you'll get your stuff covered and the kind of reach. It also talks about different levels at which you sponsor. So yeah, if you're interested in either sponsoring or you're interested in joining as a potential pirate, then go check out pirate-com. But that kind of brings me back to, I was just recently in Thailand to get the boat back in the water, and then I'm going back in December to sail the proposed route for this year's Pirate Jam. make sure that all of the points of interest are what we would expect, and that also everybody along that, you say route, don't you? Route. Everyone along the route knows what's going on. It actually takes a lot of preparation to get one of these events to run smoothly.
You do a lot, don't you? It's not just a case of, hire some boats, have some people turn up, and hey, let's sail from A to B and have some fun.
It is crazy. It is a lot of work. So, anyway, that is Pirate Jam stuff. Pretty close to the end of, I think, the photos in the art review folder here, and then we can get on to prize giving. This was Omri's attempt at a meme.
Right.
It took me quite a while, Omri, to get the joke here. So I guess this is supposed to represent the fans screaming that we should make a new Alice game. And then this is Cheshire dishing out the cool, hard, rational support our Patreon.
Right.
I didn't think this was...
I like it, but I don't kind of get the meme aspect of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's in meme format, but it doesn't sort of... Now, I suppose you could, the point here is you write something here that is somewhat controversial. Say, for instance, I hate Donald Trump, and then this Cheshire Cat could be like, he is your president. I mean, that would get people riled up. So it's sort of like anger and screaming followed by
fact.
Yeah, deal with it, right? I don't know. Maybe that was a bad example, but I was trying to think of how Omri might have envisioned that you would use this, and that was
a good picture, though.
Yeah. So that's kind of it. I think we got to the end.
I think we did get through all the pictures.
So let us then give away another prize. Wait. I think this is actually a really good... This could be one of our pins. I mean, that's kind of a Vorpal blade.
Yeah.
In the Cheshire Cat's mouth. It's very cute.
Yeah.
It's very, very cute. So that's it. We did art review, so it is time for yet another prize giveaway. Do you have another question prepared, Martin?
I do, but it's not a very good one.
Well, that's typical. No one's going to be surprised by that.
Should I pre-order Death Stranding?
Ooh. I think that's difficult, and that's...
Well, it's not difficult at all, because I'll tell you shortly.
You already did. Oh. All right. Well, the question you need to spam up the chat is: should Martin pre-order Death Stranding? So just spam up the chat with either a yes or a no, or
some other suggestions.
The otter hat.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw that. I
saw the otter hat, and when he's in the actual water using it.
I mean, come on. What's going on there?
So, yes, the prize, Out of the Woods game, which is awesome and very shiny because this is still in cellophane. Coloring book. Again, people are loving the coloring book. And the illustrator book, which has 10 classic original... Not original fairy tales, but
original. Well,
they are written in their original form,
yes.
So they still have all the blood and guts in them.
Yes.
And all of the amazing artwork from Out of the Woods. You will get those 3 things as a bundle. Because we're so good to you.
These are over on the Mysterious Shop, and I mean, we're giving away a pretty pricey bundle here. If you were to go and purchase these 3 things together, it would be like 8 times $8. It's like 50
does not compute.
Plus 40. It's like $90 worth of crap.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
We shouldn't be doing this.
Plus shipping. Maybe we should renege on our prize promise. Anyway, spam up the chat with whether or not Font Lord should pre-order Death Stranding. Now,
lots of just do it.
Did you?
No,
What?
but I'm going to.
I thought you did.
Because, well, there's still like a week to go. But, you know, the review embargo finishes tomorrow.
And you're just going to wait?
So, I mean, unless every single site gives it like a 1 star or like a 0 out of 10, I think it's going to be one of those things that even if the game itself is very average, it's probably something you should experience. It's going to be like, you know, if you meet someone and they say they've never seen Star Wars, you go like, what? And they go, I don't like sci-fi. You go, it doesn't matter. I think in the future, it's going to be like that. It's like, you never played Death Stranding?
So about that.
I think I'm going to get it pre-ordered just so it's ready on day one.
But if it's a bad game, then why would you...
Like I said, the review embargo finishes tomorrow.
But if it comes out and people like pan it and they say it was nonsense and we didn't like it,
then I will probably not.
I see.
But I mean, yeah, if it's anywhere in like the 1 out of 10 range, I'll skip it. But even if it's seen as like just blandly average 5 out of 10, I'll probably get it.
Well, so my reaction to this was I'm going to wait and see what you do in terms of getting it and enjoying it, and then I will decide. But I am near the end of my horse riding around in Red Dead Redemption. Somehow I've sort of just lost steam in there, and I've turned into just a brutal, pointless murderer.
Right.
And I don't like being a brutal, pointless murderer, but I feel like the rest of what the game has to offer is not as much fun as being a brutal, pointless murderer. So anyway, I've decided to switch to a game in which
you are a brutal murderer.
Can be a brutal murderer without having to feel guilty about it. So I downloaded Hitman 2 because I've heard good things about that.
It's done? You've been playing it?
I have not, but on the PlayStation Store right now, this is not a paid advertisement, but you pay $20 and you get the core game plus like a dozen add-on zone mission packs or something. So I wasn't even expecting that, but anyway, soon I apparently will be hitmanning people to death. So.
Horizon clearly says get Jedi Fallen Order, which again I think looks pretty good.
Is it out? Oh,
soon
to be.
Soon.
Is that the EA one?
It is. I think it looks like it might be pretty fun, so I'll probably get that as well.
Yeah, I'm stoked for that too. But as you know, and see, Greg is the same. I like games where you kind of have to work your way, or you can invent ways to stealthy up to, or kind of sneak up to, or whatever, or like murder, death, kill from a distance, like snipery stuff. I like there being a kind of strategy or invented gameplay in getting to the target and murdering them, which apparently is what the Hitman game is good about. Right. So,
but you just couldn't quite click with Horizon Zero Dawn, could you? You tried, but it just didn't.
Wow. The world didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about the games that we do and don't play, and let's see who wins this. It's Big Mood.
Big Mood.
It's sort of like if Robert Plant's 2 songs, Big Log and I'm in the Mood, had a child. They'd be called Big Mood. Well, Big Mood, I would say that you just won bigly. So if you could scroll down to the description below, you will find a block of text which explains how to write in and claim your prize. So with that, we have one more giveaway to go, but leading up to the end of the hour, I think we're going to do... You've got a bunch of questions?
Comments and stuff from recent Patreon posts.
Let's do them.
Let's have a look at what we've got here.
Good idea.
So these were from the Purpose from Chaos post. So Charles Colonna said really loves that picture of Alice with the Vorpal blade, the side face one we looked at earlier.
I think I called that knife face.
It's almost like this taser face.
It's like taser face. Yeah, so I think we called
Don't call it knife face.
Oh, it's called blade face.
Don't call it blade face. Maybe that can be like the final question.
What to call this image.
Yeah, but don't do that yet because we're not doing the game yet.
All right.
The prize. Right.
Wait, there was no question? That was just a comment?
Just a comment.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks, Charles, for liking that art. I like that art, too. I can't wait to see the final version.
Marcus. Oh, this was what I said earlier. I like the Nave. Skinny. He gives off a King Joffrey vibe. Very killable.
I see.
It's true. Joffrey was extremely killable.
Man, I think we all... I mean, if you had made a Murder Joffrey simulator, I would have played the stuff out of that.
He looked so sweet when he was in Batman.
No.
Happened.
No. Yeah, this guy's probably going to be very killable. A lot of it is going to have, to do with his animation and his dialogue and things like that. But we are planning to make it so, and this is a big spoiler, but when you first meet him, you will think he's sweet and trustable and that you should follow him, and then he will become evil and dark and he will turn on you. Now, if he showed up looking like this with like that Fu Manchu evil mustache to begin with, I don't think we could sell it, but we're going to have him show up looking like all cute and innocent. None of these really look cute and innocent, so we need a slightly less sinister face, Omri, for the initial meeting. But yeah.
Rachel Garza, his face was more smug and annoying in previous drawings, so I guess these are the previous drawings. I guess he looks like a stereotypical villain with the shaved face, and it would be more surprising if he did turn on Alice. Yeah, having him turn up looking all like sweet and innocent, and then he has that big old raised eyebrow.
Right.
Starts looking sinister.
I like this comment from Rain Galena. She says, Alice has resting blade face. That's a good one.
But yeah, let's not call it that either.
Come on. Blade face.
The whole thing, Alice has resting blade face.
No, that's not what we're going to call it. That's a funny comment.
Yep. Lady Fizzy really likes the Nave like this. It would be refreshing to see a younger villain. Alice's story. Have they all been old?
I think they have, and actually that's an interesting point, is that, usually we represent the other children as being insane children, and they are, like Alice, refugees often from the violence that's unfolding in Wonderland. Now, what if this guy comes off as if he's a kind of elevated, insane child who's made his way into the Queen's castle? And so when Alice first runs into him, he says something along, hey, I'm one of those insane children. You can trust me. And but I've infiltrated the Queen's castle, and so I can get you directly to the throne room. Follow me. And then, of course, once you get there, he can be like, ha, I got you. I'm an insane child, but I'm a double insane child. I double crossed you. That's it could be a good story for him.
I think so.
All right.
And Greg says that he's liking the new Labyrinth art, but wonders if perhaps it shouldn't actually reach anywhere. Rather than have the two staircases that reach the top, perhaps it rolls back on itself like an endless maze, and the only way out is to stop playing by the rules.
I thought you were just going to say stop playing. Like you get to this room and it's, okay, game over.
Well, we've already said that, haven't we?
We did have that idea at one point.
To actually, beat something, just put the controller down and give up.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end of all of this, whether or not this leads or you think it leads somewhere, I actually think it'd be kind of more interesting if Alice got here and you kind of it looks like there's a path that gets up there, but then you notice that as you get up these, maybe the hands reach down and flick you off, so I think having what looks like a goal, but the goal is unattainable, is sort of maybe more fun than just blatantly not having a goal, because the concept here is that it's supposedly a just system and it supposedly has the ability for an outcome which is somehow in line with justice, but then once you get up here it's nope, get out of there.
This would be a good place for some non-Euclidean shenanigans. If you could see, I know, right, so I'm going to go right, left, go up, and I'm out. But to get right, left, up, maybe you have to go past a wall that obscures your view for a few seconds.
Right, and then
as you get round the wall, it's like the path isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it'd be a good.
It'd be something like that. So good comment, Greg. We will work on something where, it looks like there's an exit, but obviously you can't get out. Now, I mean, this brings us to the question of, well, we do work our way through this maze, but at some point Alice has to stand in judgment, and we know that she's going to fail, right? She's going to be sentenced to death by balls, and that'll end her up back on the croquet grounds of murder and death. So there will need to be whatever it is that's a sort of the ejection from this room in the violent way towards your croquet death.
You just know that that's going to be like in the YouTube comments now. You know that what people like to do? They put like a quote and then the name and the year. It's going to be Death by Balls, American McGee 2019.
Well, now they're all going to do it.
Well, yes.
Yeah. There is
a super chat from Alice on Elm Street. Thank you very much. He looks like a smug brat who's more bark than bite. So maybe Alice doesn't take him seriously, and then he'll turn out to be a real threat.
Yeah.
So it's Alice's dismissing of him that makes him turn.
Well, I don't know that the dismissing makes him turn. I just think that what Alice is saying is that the player will not really take him very seriously. Alice will not take him very seriously, but, she might still follow along because he says he knows the way, the path. But, she may think, well, he's not much of a threat, right? What could he possibly do? But then, oops, you were wrong.
Good one. Tora Rosengard says, loving the art for the Nave, and is also going to be trying their hand at one of the Halloween templates that we gave away.
Ooh.
Yeah. That post should be unlocked now, should it not, on Patreon?
The one with the pumpkin carving
template things.
Right.
Probably.
Knave of Hearts and Pumpkin Farts.
The one.
Well, I don't think that has the template, but that is, I think, one of Jennifer's friends that actually tried the templates. That is an actual carved pumpkin from one of her friends. And then one of these posts has the templates. So if you are looking to, there we go. So go find pumpkin carving in the Asylum, and you'll find that there are these templates, which you can download, print out, lay over your nearest neighborhood pumpkin, and then carve it in the shape of a Lulu head.
Yep. Sarah Heist also loving the Knave of Hearts. Skinny one reminds her of Lord Farquaad from Shrek, which it does. So yeah, thanks for telling us that. Eva Marie saying could be a good mini boss. I think that is also correct. Who's this guy? M. Simply M. A knave is typically a tricky or deceitful person or a male servant. Is that the official description of a knave?
Somebody said that. I had to go look it up, and apparently that is, but I didn't really.
Okay. But yes, also agrees to be a cool mini boss. Yeah. Thank you, M. Calico, since he's meant to be dishonest, I think it would be cool to have his character complex instead of simple. Like maybe have the knave be in denial or something, or being cunning. I guess they may be saying don't have him look like the big dum-dum.
No, I like the insane child become supposed infiltrator, become betrayer concept. I think we want to run with that. And I'm also interested that he did generate a fair amount of feedback. I guess I just kind of saw him as a minor character, and I didn't realize people were going to be so interested in this character, but apparently they are.
I think the fantasticness of the art adds to that. Quite engaging, looks like a good character. Again, like, even though those cyberpunk card guards looked amazing, they didn't fit in with Wonderland, really. But, I mean, you looked at them, you could see them as characters. They got your juices flowing when you were thinking about games.
Yep.
Maybe the same thing here with the Knave of Farquaad. Oh, we have a super chat. We've got 100 rubs. from Francis Alexandre Marino. Hello from China. Are you in China?
Sending rubles from sending rubs from China.
I really wonder, does the original Spicy Horse crew in Shanghai still exist?
No, they were all
They were all executed.
vaporized.
After spicy shenanigans, they all got beheaded.
Yeah, I mean the people exist. I don't know that that the office. I think the office was knocked down. I think I showed that. I showed that in a video at one point. I think, didn't we? Because we went there.
We went there, and I thought it was supposed to be a protected, listed building.
I thought so too.
But
yeah,
no.
we used to be in these buildings here.
That bit is still there.
The one in front?
Yes, that is still there.
Yeah, but we were in the back building, which you cannot see. It's in shadow here. But these have all been knocked down. I thought this was knocked down as well.
No, it's still there.
But you know, as far as people go, I mean, this is a big group of people, and I'm pretty sure that most of these people are still alive. There's Ben, there's Tang Yiping, there's Nako. I know they're all still alive. There's me way in the back there. There's Kasha. I know he's still alive because I follow him on Instagram. And there's Ken Wong. He's down in Australia now, still making games. There's Adam. He's still around. I just had him over for dinner recently, and all these guys are still bouncing around. And this was the office actually on Nanjing Shilu. This was not the office there on Suzhou Creek. This was by the time we moved to Suzhou Creek. Are you in there? There's Martin standing next to me,
peeking over the top
Martin.
of Shenbin.
Yeah, so I know Regina is still around, but she did move back to Detroit, actually.
Back in Detroit now.
Yes, she ran away. Joey is here. She's actually working on the project with us. We've actually seen some of her artwork. Yeah, Nako there again.
Matt.
Yeah, Matt.
The back.
And, oh yeah, there's Matt. He just had a baby. I mean, he didn't have a baby, but his wife had a baby. And Brad, he moved back to the States.
Brad?
That's Brad. Oh no, that's Alexander.
Yeah, I was like, well.
Oh, okay. So actually, Alexander is working with us these days. So Alexander's on our team. Joey there is on our team. I'm on our team. Martin's on our team. So yeah, there's a few people in this that we still are working with, and of course, we're still friends with everybody here. So yeah. Not like people get ground up, vanished in China. What was I doing with my hair? What's going on there? It's like long hair, but
very slick,
but slicked back. I don't really like that look. That's not good. Anyway, thank you for the super chat, and also hello back from China.
Yep. Adam Latta is asking me to finish playing Bloodborne. I can't. I snapped the disc.
Wow.
It angered me so much.
Why did you do that?
Sometimes I have a temper when it comes to games. Not very often.
You could have just said, sometimes I have a temper, period.
But I'm a lot better now. I'm grown up. So yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on. Wendy J saying the image Omri did is a little too abstract. I think this is the twisty Courthouse one. This is from the Chaos from Order post.
I see.
No. Feedback's feedback.
Yeah.
Searching for.
I was just looking at the place on Suzhou Creek where our office used to be.
Right.
Because it is the home to a pretty significant amount of investment and development in Shanghai.
It actually looks quite nice now. It's like a little park there, and it's all green, and there's trees and benches.
Yeah. But I mean, oh no, I don't click on weird links. So I mean, this was Suzhou Creek in the 1920s, which is actually the era from which the building where we were, that's the time in which that office was built. And when you look at old pictures of China from that era, it's pretty crazy. I mean, we were in a cotton mill, I think is what our building was used for.
Right.
But anyway, a lot of factories were in these buildings along the creek, and that's partly why there's a lot of history there. Our building was famous because it had bullet holes in the door from when the Japanese invaded Shanghai. And so that's why we thought it might stand forever, because it was a historical site and it was protected. But I mean,
Suqiao Creek.
Suqiao with the Shanghai Rowing Club. But yeah, I mean, if there's any one thing that is constant about Shanghai, it is that it's constantly changing. And so I believe that intersection right there underneath the bridge, that is where our offices were. And if you go over there now, find that everything has been knocked down and they've built all new roads and shopping malls and all kinds of crazy stuff. So pretty crazy.
Things do change.
Things very rapidly change.
Munchies has closed or moved, and Print has also moved or closed. Wow. There you go.
Okay.
What else we got here? A few more to go. Alex Nemo. Maybe this is something for you tomorrow, or when you get to LA. It would be good if they add a Russian interface to Patreon.
This is among the comments and questions for me to take to the Patreon,
I suspect,
thingy. Yeah, so Alex is, I said before, he's sort of the representative, or one of the kind of people who helps to represent our Russian Alice fan community. And I think it's great that we have somebody to interface with, and that represents that group. But I think, one of the problems we often run into with the Russian or other kind of large groups that maybe don't get as much attention as they'd like let's say the Russian group over here, or the Chinese group over there, or the Brazilian group down there, and they want their games in their own language. The problem is that the market is, even though those countries are huge and there's lots of people living there, the market for the support of those things oftentimes doesn't validate sort of the language version or whatever. So that's it's a problem. The answer from these companies would be show us the demand and then we will provide the service. But it's a chicken and egg problem, because you're not going to get much demand if you're not presenting the content in Russian to begin with.
Yep.
Sorry. Can't help you there.
Stephanie D. Are the Alice holiday postcards still in consideration? I would love to buy a pack. Maybe do Alice in the rabbit dress for spring/Easter. Good point, actually. Are they still in consideration?
I don't know. We'll have to talk about that after the live stream today.
Yep. And finally, Andoni Odiaga Ariaga. How do you pronounce that? I like Omri's image. The only thing I would change is the overall roundness. So that was the twisted courthouse thing. Maybe more square shapes would give the order a touch to the image, like Escher used to. So yeah, the new image I think is certainly a lot less round. So you should be happy with that. Yay!
Cool.
Woolsies.
Did we collect together enough of a kind of lists of questions for this thing in with Patreon? I guess I am going off to that. If you have feedback or comments or something that you want sent along to Patreon, then let me know. I'll take what I can there.
Yep.
Assembly. I have to be honest, I'm a little bit nervous about going to Los Angeles right now, given that the whole place is on fire, whatnot. But yeah. This is what I'm doing.
There's still no update on this page that says, don't come, we're all on fire.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But this is, I guess this is what I'm going to, like a panel and a live stream and refreshments and all this stuff. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. And I will record that and log it or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, it is the top of the hour. I think that it is time for us to do one last contest before we go. What is going to be the question?
I've already done 2 of the questions.
Oh no.
maybe the. Oh no, we had one, isn't it? The what's Blade Face going to be called?
What name would you give to the image of Alice with the knife down her face? Blade Face?
Meow.
I think we have to make this pen. It's very funny. I think it's also funny that somehow the cat with the knife follows the girl with the knife. Anyway, do spam up the chat with what you would call this particular image. I'm going to go with Blade Face.
Blade Face. I'm not sure. Nothing's coming to me. Spam.
You just call it spam.
Does she have the old?
You could call it knife's edge.
One said that.
Oh.
Does she have the old burning house in her eye? If we zoom in,
she does. There.
Ooh.
Save us,
Is Richard Pryor in there?
It is the Pryor fire.
Right.
Now, what does she have in her eye?
Death.
Wow, if we zoomed in there and it was like that clip from Blade Runner and you can see Zora with the snake scale in the mirror.
Enhance.
Track 3470. That machine was called the Esper.
Right.
And that is my friends Jamie and Liz. That's why they ended up naming their boat Esper.
It is. What do we got here?
Mirror's Edge. Collection of cells.
Get sued by EA.
That would be funny, wouldn't it?
My better half.
Mockham's Razor. That's pretty cute.
Like my better half.
My better half.
Yeah.
Saying half or half?
Half.
Dark Reflection. Face Edge.
Denial Blade.
Ooh. Looks like The Ring. Not a very good title, Magus.
She's a ghoul, Lamau.
Can't see through metal. No. I don't know. I'm thinking one-eyed.
Vorpal's Edge. Disassociation.
Dark Reflection.
Anytime somebody says something that has face at the end, I'm just thinking taser face.
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing.
Very, very good taser face. Right. Well, I think we've collected enough potential names for this. Apparently, Adam wants to call it Martin Rebuy Bloodborne.
No.
You're gonna have to explain this Bloodborne problem to me because I'm not aware of what the hell is going on there.
I don't know where it's coming from.
I don't know.
Who even mentioned Bloodborne today?
Adam Latta. What is it with you and Adam? All right.
Oh man.
Here we go. We're gonna roll it. And Layla Dell, you have won the prize. She says True Shades. So or Sharp Truth. She's still going at it, but Lee, is that Lay or Lee? Lee Liddell.
Lee?
I think it's Lee. So anyway, sorry for blade facing your name. Lee, you have won the prize, so you do need to scroll down to the description below. There you will find a block of text which explains how to claim that prize, and please do follow those instructions inside the next 20.
Do it.
While you're down there, you could also click on like and subscribe, and you could also, there's other links in there, like to our Patreon, and I think there's a link to AmericanMcGee.com. Although, do you really need a link for that?
Really?
No. So if you do head over to AmericanMcGee.com, you could go and you could sign the mailing list. Are we over 40-something thousand names on that now?
44, the last I heard.
That's good. And you could follow Twitter. I think I'm getting close to like 40,000 or 30,000 followers there. I know that Instagram is like getting close to 40,000. Yeah, look at that. 40,000 followers on Instagram. I don't even know what this means or like what, but anyway.
It's just
Martin loves this picture.
I think everyone loves this like sly, like, you know, hey, what's going on?
Yin did that. Yeah, he's funny. I don't know what he thinks about the situation of the family he's been born into. Anyway, go follow me over on Instagram if that fancies your tickle. And then YouTube, where we are right now, give a follow. I think we're about to pass 30,000 followers on YouTube.
Ooh.
Yeah, there's Patreon. So this is the thing that we were doing before. This is the Cheshire Kitten, which we did via crowd design. We are now, Font Lord is working on the concept of enamel pins.
Mm-hmm.
And after the enamel pins, we're going to do another plush. I think we said we might do a Mad Hatter plush.
Mad Hatter, or some people seem to want Yellow Dress Alice or Shaved Head Alice.
I'm a big fan of the Asylum Alice. That's the one with the shaved head. But anyway, this is all to be decided by the Insane Children. So if you want to help decide what it is that we're doing, do head over to Patreon. Look, there he is in his laboratory. This would be post blowing things up by trying to find the nature of 8 times.
Looking for the answer in his hat.
Yeah. So I think what else? There's also Mysterious. If you go over to Mysterious, you will be able to find things like wallets and shirts and art prints and you name it. So you could click on Mysterious and go check that stuff out. That is also, if you missed the Cheshire Cat promotion over on Patreon, that would be the place to go and find a Cheshire Cat. There's also white rabbits. There's all kinds of...
Yeah, do all those things. Support Alice. Support us. Stick around. Join the fun.
Yes.
Get bent.
And as the little guy with the bottle says, where's he? I think he would make a good pen. There you go. Of course, I've scrolled around. He was probably just one click back.
Very
Clearly,
likely.
he was just one click back. But yes, that is the end of today's. You can jib it up. You can get bent. And there you go.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, as always.
Now, I am traveling, but I will be back next week. And then, of course, the following week, we will do another live stream and a crowd design session. So follow along with those updates over on Patreon. And I do hope that when I come back, I will have some sort of vlog thingy to show you of Patreon assembly.